You're listening to the new Supersound Showcase on FM 93.5 The Burg and WMBG AM 740. I'm your host, Robert Hodge, and we are sponsored by Culture Fix. Today is a very special day. I like when I have a first-time guest, somebody I've not had on the show ever before, and I'm going to introduce you to a name that you've probably all heard because he's gotten a lot of attention in the last year or two. His name is Dustin Furlow. He is a fingerstyle guitarist and one of the best, if I might add, in this region, and I don't say that on my own opinion exclusively. I say it from reviewers, I say it from fans, and I say it from the fact that you always draw a big house when you are working. So Dustin, welcome to the radio.
Thank you very much. That's quite the introduction.
Well, yes, and
I appreciate that, Robert.
All of it meant with sincerity, because you do play well. You play from the heart, and you play extraordinarily well from a technical standpoint. And so it is, something that Liza Minnelli told me many years ago, that true talent will kick its way through a brick wall. Mm-hmm. And I love that analogy, because honestly, it's the truth. And if you work hard at your craft, people will find you and people will support you. And you are a living example of that.
Yeah.
So
Thank you.
How many dates a year do you work? Because you seem to be working, you and Matt are just all over the place working.
Yeah. We're both fortunate enough to work with a couple really nice agencies in the area, and also have, been playing in this area for, Matt's been playing for probably 13, 14, 15 years in the area, and I've been playing almost 10 now.
Yeah, we are, of course, talking about Matt Thomas. We haven't mentioned him by name. Yeah. It's not like he's one of those that doesn't need a last name, but Matt, of course, is such a well-known guitarist, and he and Dustin perform together quite often and are partners in the music business. So, it is interesting to see the two of you solo and then to see you together, because it really does become quite an interesting show when both of you are focused on how much music you can make come out of two little guitars.
Yeah, we definitely have the most fun at our duo gigs. We both play around between 200 and 250 shows a year.
Oh my gosh, I didn't realize it was that many.
Yeah, it's we try to stay busy, and it's that sort of constant, I guess, the being consistent and being able to play out several nights a week is what kind of helps us,
How do you
really
invest
move.
All those millions?
What's that?
How do you invest all those millions?
Oh. I buy nice guitars and spoil my dog. But
what kind of dog?
He's a border collie.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and he's 9 months old. He's kind of like the other chunk of my life. I'm really not a very interesting person. I just play a lot of guitar, and I love my dog. I take him to the dog park all the time, and that's about it. Yeah. So
now, has Matt gotten you involved in harp guitar and the other variations of the things that he does? Or
I've always been a huge fan of the harp guitar. My first introduction to this style of music, what they call contemporary guitar or solo guitar, fingerstyle guitar, was through Andy McKee, who was playing Into the Ocean, which is a harp guitar piece. And ever since then, I've kind of just been hooked. I've never gone off track. It's been since I was 17. This is what I've been wanting to do. And so I've always had access to a harp guitar, but I've never really decided to tackle it, because I know you really have to have a really substantial knowledge of the fingerboard. And while I feel like I've gotten a lot better, I think I need to understand it a lot more before I start moving into understanding what the stub basses do on the harp guitar. Some people dive right in, they can do things. I know I can play slower tunes like Amazing Grace and stuff like that. But to be able to write originals on the harp guitar, I'm giving that some time. But Matt's getting a new harp guitar soon, and he'll probably lend me his old one. So
there you go.
Yeah, man.
Well, and speaking of music, Dustin has a brand new album that's just been completed. It's in pre-order right now, and it won't be actually officially released until the 15th of this month, which is coming right up. So I hope you're ready. Do you have a release party planned? What's happening?
There's something in the works at Victorian Station, if you're familiar.
Oh, yeah, that's a great place.
Yeah, it's a really nice venue for acoustic music. It's just got a good feel to it.
The CD is called Woodscapes, and I'm going to show it up here to our streaming audience. If you're watching on our Facebook page, you'll see it now, and if you're not, you can see it on the video. Actually, that'll be on YouTube and About the Burg and WMBGradio.com tomorrow. We'll have the official video up. But this album, this is a beautiful cover.
Thank you.
Who did this? This is nice.
So that was actually a photo taken by Stephen Brown. I used to
lovely.
work with him in Virginia Beach. Modest Monkey Photography is the name of his business. And Sean DeBurka, who does a lot of the Candy Rat and Fret Monkey Records graphics design. He did the embellishments and also the back cover completely from scratch.
Well, that's beautiful. And not to make everybody jealous, but I have the very first autographed copy. He told me he hadn't signed any until this one today. So I'm excited with that. We will, and now it's documented on film. I have Provenance, and this will be the most valuable one when you go platinum.
Let's hope.
Okay, I like that idea. So tell us about the songs that are on here. Are they original, or what do you got on here?
Yeah, I made sure to do all originals for this one. It's 10 tracks. They're all solo finger style, so it's some of them are really meditative, and they're very complex and lush in their chord voicings, and some of them are a little busier. I'm going to do one of each. I'm going to do a busier one, and then I'm going to do a more melodic, slower one. But I think that the goal of the album was to just maybe bring people who don't listen to solo guitar, give them something that maybe feels familiar. A lot of solo guitar players in that subgenre are sort of very much about the tapping and the percussion and the flair, and that's all great and it's all very impressive. I wanted it to have familiar songwriting structure that I've used in songs that I've written lyrics to, that sort of thing, to where people can become familiar with it, they can hum it, they can
and that's smart, because there is a fine line between music that is original and therefore completely unknown the first time you heard it, and then music that is instrumental and original. It doesn't even have a lyric that has a familiar quality to it. So you're wise to give them something to hang on to the first time they're listening, because it is a risk. Will they accept an evening of all original music? Yeah,
the real truth of it is that music is repetition, and I think if you have something that made you feel something the first time you wrote it, it's worth repeating. And if people hear that and they think the same thing, then I think you're onto something. So 4 of these tracks are on previous albums: The Elder Tree, Strange New World, Cherokee Lake, and what's the other one? It's escaping me. Once more with Feeling. But then the other 6, they're brand new. They haven't been released anywhere.
How do the new recordings on this album of older songs that have been pre-released, how do they differ?
Good question. I'm glad you asked. I changed the tunings.
Okay.
For this album, I lowered them. I have a longer sailed guitar now, so I can actually lower the tuning without the strings getting floppy.
Wow.
I also did more embellishments and different outros and intros and stuff like that. So it's definitely the same bare bones of the old songs, but it's new at the same time.
Has the technology changed at all?
In terms of the recording, both studios I went to were really great. Master Sound was who I went through with Rob Walsh. He's a legend. And then for this one, I went with Kim Person, and the reason for that was I was really impressed with the audio quality of Matt's CD, and of course Stephen Bennett and Tommy Emmanuel, who have worked with her in the past. I've always loved the sound of their albums. So,
in fact, Tommy's been on my show. Yeah, we had a really nice chat. Yeah,
that's awesome. Yeah, he's on a different frequency than most.
Oh, he is something else. He really is. Well, so I'm curious. Just one more question about when you reapproach music in the studio after a while. When you go back to it, what happens in your mind when you begin to prepare for another recording after you've already released one? Where does your mind take you in terms of the arrangement and what you're trying to create sound-wise?
Well, to start off, Kim's studio is totally different than Rob's, whereas it's very it's almost like you're under a microscope.
Right.
And she picks up every nuance, every little thing, and you have to be perfect. So what I did was I kind of divided recording into chunks, and I did the songs that I'd already recorded last. I wanted to have a free and opened, I didn't want to be thinking, okay, well, I need to get the new ones done too, so I can't forget about those. I did all the new ones first, and then I re-recorded the 4 that I've done before, and in that time I could just go home and just play with something familiar and feel like it was like revisiting an old friend. And that way there's no stress.
What made you pull these particular songs back? Were they always your favorites, or were they the most responsive? Did the audience respond more? What made these songs re-recordable?
I was honestly just really curious how they would sound at Kim's studio. I was just kind of it would be a wasted opportunity to not redo them and have a different voice, because there really is a different voice. When I recorded, I used a different build of guitar. It was Lullaby for the first 2 albums, and now I'm using a single handmade luthier instrument from Mark Beneteau, and it's like I said, the scale is longer, it's more responsive. There's a sound
Sure.
port which adds a different dynamic to the overtones. I just thought it would be cool to have a consistent sound.
Right.
Because Kim told me something that kind of took a lot of stress off my back. She said, don't worry, don't get too hung up on recording this album a certain way, because all it is just a photograph. It's it's a documentation of where you're at right now.
Right.
And you should just live and breathe in it and just be yourself. And I just thought it'd be cool to take a snapshot, quite literally, for the cover of this guitar, and then get all the recordings with it too, and just kind of, just as a stamp point of where I'm at right now. I'm 25, and I got this for my 25th birthday as a present to myself to just kind of explore new.
So it's a
things.
new toy still.
Yeah, it's still fairly new, and it's
awesome.
It's still bringing new ideas about, and
okay. And Dustin, where can people go and see you? What's coming up?
So the easiest thing would be either Facebook. I post where I'm at, where I'm playing at for the week, usually once a week. I'll just put all the gigs in one post,
right.
And then DustinFurlow.com is where you can pre-order the CD and also go to the shows section for stuff that's booked further out.
Okay.
You can also order the old CDs there too, and this CD will be, like you said, on the 15th of April. It'll be available worldwide, Spotify and all that.
Okay.
So
cool. Have you and Matt ever talked about recording something together?
Yeah. Oh yeah. We've got about 4 harp guitar and 6-string guitar duets set up, and I'm not personally crazy about the idea of trying to accompany him on his pieces, because they're so complex and they're all filled and complete,
Right.
But I think for the harp guitar, it's like very orchestral when you add another guitar, and because he has the sub strings and I can add all the harmonies, which is really nice, without making it sound too busy. It just kind of sounds almost symphonic in that sense. So, and we're all within an hour of Kim, so it'd be a wasted opportunity not to record
if
something
you're listening,
together.
Matt Thomas, you better figure this out, because I think everybody would like to hear that record.
Yeah.
So get it made.
It's going to happen, yeah.
Get it made. All right, we're going to take a commercial break, and we will be back in just a few moments. Our Facebook feed will stay live, so you'll be able to see what we're doing, and you'll be able to hear maybe a little extra content from
tuning.
Dustin. Yeah. And we will be back with the great music of Dustin Furlow and some new music from Woodscapes, his brand new album. And hopefully, is anything that you're playing from this album, have you done it all on radio before, or do I have a world exclusive?
Actually, I haven't played any of these tunes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so.
This is just my speed. I like when I get it first.
Yeah.
So stay tuned. You will be listening to a world premiere from Dustin Furlow. And we're back with the Super Sound Showcase, heard on WMBG AM 740 and FM 93.5, the Burg. And this is Robert Hodge. I'm your host. Today, our show, which is sponsored by Culture Fix, features the wonderful new music of Dustin Furlow. Dustin, you ready to play, man?
Yes, sir.
Oh gosh, I can't wait to hear this. Dustin has a magical touch to the guitar and has great insight for how to make lovely music come out of this instrument. So let's hear it. What's the first song? Actually, tell us about it.
Yeah, this first tune I'm going to play is my favorite off of Woodscapes, and it's called Andy's Gift. It's a dedication to Andy McKee, who was sort of the guitarist who, when I was 17 or 18, kind of showed me by his videos that were going viral on YouTube what I wanted to do. I mean, I was kind of just baffled and really inspired, and I dug deep into his albums. I still dig deep into him for inspiration, and so this is sort of, I borrowed a lot of his techniques for this tune, and so it's almost like a thank you.
Have you met him?
Yeah.
Okay.
3 or 4 times now. He's a really nice guy. Yeah.
Great. Where is he located?
I'm pretty sure he's from Kansas, but he's on the road towards the world.
And has he heard this song?
Not yet. I hope to put the CD in his hand one of these days, but
that'll be great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
This is for him. Yeah. It's called Andy's Gift.
Very nice. That is a very relaxing piece, and partly from the repetition, but I found myself thinking of a question for you. When you write instrumental guitar music like this, is the idea that you express something from your heart and emotion into the piece with the idea that the audience listening will then experience that same emotion, or do you write just hoping to evoke some interpretation and emotion of their own?
No, I definitely want the audience to feel empathetic. I want them to know that there's for this song in general, I want them to know that there's a pretty immense sense of gratitude and just like sort of like just a positive vibe. I mean, it's a very major key friendly song. It's almost like in a Irish jigs time signature as well, which was
when you talk about the way this other artist has influenced you and how you've delved into his technique, is there anything specific you can tell me about what he gave you technically that's in there that maybe is not in the rest of your music? Is there something indicative of what you learned from him in there?
There's these open hammer-ons that go to a roll, so it's percussive with the left hand. And then as well as that technique, which I borrowed from him, there's the outro. This is left hand harmonic.
Right.
So this is bridging here on the natural harmonic. I never knew about that technique until I saw him. I was like, what in the world is he doing? And then I realized he's picking with the left hand on this side versus,
Okay.
So
obviously when this CD does end up in his hands, he will recognize immediately.
I mean, he probably borrowed them from somebody great too, but I associate those things with him because he executed them really well. So
awesome.
Yeah.
What's the next song?
This is a tune called Abigail's Lullaby, and it's in the same tuning, just without a capo.
Who is Abigail?
Abigail is the daughter I hope to have at some point.
And you've already named her.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So this is, when I was writing this, it just came across as it's I almost called it Abigail's Waltz, but I thought that it was more of a lullaby you'll hear when I get to the chorus.
Awesome.
It's very much a hummable, singable thing. I have words for it, but I just thought that it was
Abigail, I don't know when you'll be watching the video of this show, but I hope you enjoy your song.
Yeah. So here goes. I'm actually going to switch the chairs just because I got to prop this on my left hand, or my left knee. This is much more comfortable.
Good. Very nice. I like that shimmer at the end there. That was fun.
Thank you.
Wow, she'll be a lucky girl to have that song for her own.
Let's hope she appreciates it.
Well, exactly. And while we're stopped, I would like to say a special thank you to Brenda Barkley for arranging your appearance here today. She's with the Tidewater Friends of Acoustic Music, and she reached out to you as my middleman today when I was looking to bring you in here. So I appreciate that coordination.
Yeah.
And I'm
Thanks,
glad
Brenda.
that you decided to come. Yeah, thank you, Brenda. And we will definitely look forward to listening to this album, and I hope that everyone at home will get it. You can order yourself a copy, and you don't have to wait till the 15th, right? They can go to your website and pre-order it, and Dustin is very conscientious. He will ship this to you so that you...
Probably the day of.
What is today? Yeah.
Probably the same day.
It won't arrive early at this point, probably, but that's great. You can get it the minute that it comes out, and hopefully you'll enjoy that. What's the third song you brought today?
I was going to play, this one was on a previous album, but it's still one that's relevant to me. Sort of the theme of Woodscapes, other than the two tracks that were written for special people in my life, or soon to be in my life, hopefully. The other theme was that I took a lot from a couple of trips to the Shenandoah Mountains, the Cascade Mountains in the Pacific Northwest, and the Great Smoky Mountains where my dad lives in Tennessee. And so a lot of the tunes on here are written really close to when I had those experiences, so I like to think that they were sort of a product of the inspiration that came from them. This was the first instrumental I ever wrote, and for the guitarists that are listening, it's in Dadgad tuning, which is a Celtic sort of tuning. It's very modal. And this tune is called Strange New World. This was about my first trip to the Shenandoah Mountains.
Oh, great. Awesome. Let's hear it. And a big finish. I like it.
Thank you.
I like that. That's such an interesting landscape of percussion, and
Thank you.
really very inspiring music. It makes you sort of want to get into the groove with you.
Yeah.
So very, very lively. I like it. All right. Well, that has been the music of Dustin Furlow, and that wraps it up for our episode of Super Sound Showcase, sponsored by Culture Fix here on FM 93.5 The Burg and WMBG AM 740. I am your host, Robert Hodge, and once again, I thank you all for listening and for tuning in every week. Dustin, thank you for making time to come over and be with us today. It's been a pleasure. Did you have a good time?
Absolutely, yeah.
Well, good. I hope you'll be back with us again soon. And please get yourself a copy of Woodscapes and go and look at Dustin's website so that you can find out where he is playing, and go and support local music as you do every time you turn on the radio and listen to this show.